Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk, talking about the backstory to the Fourth Amendment. Goes all the way back to biblical times. This freedom from searches that have no probable cause, that have no warrant connected to them. This goes back to biblical times. It's rooted in Roman law. In other words, it has been a long-standing principle of Western jurisprudence that a man's home is his castle, and that the crown cannot go into your home, cannot access your property, cannot search anything that belongs to you, cannot seize anything that belongs to you unless they have probable cause to believe that you have been involved in some kind of criminal behavior. They can't do it. They're prohibited by the Constitution from doing that. And they've got to go get a warrant from a judge who is convinced, based on the evidence that they present, that there is reason to believe that you've been involved in criminal conduct, and therefore a search of your premises, a search of your person, a search of your effects, which is just a word for property, is warranted. And that's fine. We all understand that you've got to have the capacity to do that. And when there's probable cause, when a judge has looked at it and is convinced that the evidence warrants it, he can issue a warrant authorizing that kind of a search. We understand that. We accept that. We embrace that. We got no problem with that. But we ought to have a huge problem with a government that is searching your phone records, searching your phone, searching your computer, searching your Skype account, searching your Gmail account, searching your Yahoo account, searching your Apple devices, and then seizing what they find there. And see, they're seizing stuff. They have no evidence that you've done anything wrong. They have not gone to a judge and got any sort of a warrant that permits them to access your phone records. Again, we got no problem if the authorities have reason to believe that somebody has been using their phones to commit crimes. I mean, they're working on a conspiracy and they're hatching a plan to sell drugs or import drugs or put a contract out on somebody. Fine. They got evidence that you're using your phone for some sort of nefarious purpose, then go to a judge, get the warrant, and they can grab all the phone records they want. That's fine by me. It's fine by you. We understand that. But when they don't have a warrant, they don't have probable cause, they do not have a reason to go in and search you and your papers and what belongs to you, then that's just wrong. It's unconstitutional. And we are hearing now that our government has been doing this to us for years, and that this has expanded under Barack Obama. Now, here's the difference between this FISA. Remember, the first word in FISA stands for foreign. This is Foreign Intelligence Services Act, FISA. And they have FISA courts where you got to go to a judge and you got to show them that you've got a reason, the government has a reason to do what they want to do. FISA means foreign. That was the whole reason it was passed, so that it gave President Bush and the administration under his leadership the authority to investigate communications that originated on foreign soil and came to somebody in America. It was foreign intelligence service. Now, I'm all for that. I'm completely down with that. You got a non-American, somebody living overseas, he has absolutely no constitutional rights to be exempt from search and seizure. He's got no protection, no Fourth Amendment protections whatsoever. It's part of how we protect our national security. But what President Obama has done is he's expanded that to domestic surveillance, where now he is surveilling phone calls that start in America and terminate in America. Emails that are sent from one place in America to another place in America. Communication that originates with one American and is received by another American. All of that with no warrant from a judge. Now, let's grab clip number one. The Obama administration has been claiming, hey, this is all above board because we've been briefing Congress. We've been briefing Congress, so all this is fine. No problem here. We've been briefing Congress. Now, here's Keith Ellison, Representative Keith Ellison. This guy is a hardcore Democrat. This guy is a Muslim. And he is tight with Barack Hussein Obama. And he says, nobody's briefing me on this. Let's listen.
But you are a member of Congress. The president had said on Friday that every member of Congress has access to the information. Can you just first start out by explaining what a member of Congress who's not on the committee knows about this program or can know about this program?
I'd say almost nothing. The reality is you can't bring your staff in there. So we are moving around Capitol Hill at lightning speed. Nearly every member of Congress is. If you can't get any staff support, that means you got to go into that room. You got to sit there and pour through documents over the course of hours.
So Keith Ellison, President Obama's out there Friday. Every member of Congress has been briefed. Keith Ellison says, I ain't been briefed. I don't know a thing about this. Average member of Congress doesn't know anything about this. So that kind of blows a hole in all of that deal. Number to call if you want to join the conversation. 888-589-8840 is the number to call, 888-589-8840. Clip number 2, this is Ed Henry boring down on Jay Carney, Baghdad Jay. Remember Baghdad Bob from Iraq? He's up on the roof of the hotel, and American forces are closing in on the palace, and he's saying, hey, we're winning a glorious victory. Everything's great. Look out there. It's a wonderful sight to see. So he's just lying through his teeth to the people of Iraq. Well, Jay Carney, he's Baghdad Jay. And so here's Ed Henry, Fox News, kind of boring in on him on this very thing. Remember, the president said every member of Congress knows about this. They know about this. Nobody's been complaining about this, and every member of Congress knows about it. You just heard Keith Ellison say, I don't know anything about this. I haven't been briefed. And so Ed Henry bores in on Baghdad Jay on this very theme. Let's listen.
You mentioned the president's comments on Friday. To follow on what Jessica was asking about oversight. On Friday, you refer to that. The president said, quote, every member of Congress has been briefed on this program. Why then, or not just Republicans, but Democrats like Keith Ellison saying, I've heard nothing about this. He said he checked his email. He had his staff go back through records. He hasn't been briefed on it.
I can't speak to individual members. What I can tell you is that
every member of Congress has been briefed on it.
So, look. Every member of Congress has been briefed on this program. So Ed Henry says, well, then why are Democrats like Keith Ellison saying, I haven't heard anything about this? And all Baghdad Jay can say, I can't speak to individual members. And Ed Henry reminds him, look, the president said every member of Congress has been briefed on this. And Baghdad Jay then kind of mumbled and fumbled and jumbled around. Now, Ron Paul, now I've had my differences obviously with Ron Paul, but you talk about a guy that has a principled commitment to the Constitution. Ron Paul is the guy, and he's concerned like his son Rand Paul is, and we'll play the Rand Paul quote here in just a second. But Ron Paul says, you know, they're out there, they want to extradite this guy. There's a hitch, by the way, in Hong Kong law. They're in the process of kind of retooling their whole extradition deal. And they're putting all extraditions on hold until they get this thing worked out. This started before this all happened. So, and maybe this is even part of the reason why he picked Hong Kong. It's going to be years, even if the United States wants to extradite him from Hong Kong, and the guy's disappeared. I think you've heard that. Nobody knows where he is, but he's almost certainly still in Hong Kong because China's going to be watching this guy like a hawk. And it's going to be years, even if the U.S. started extradition proceedings today to get him out of Hong Kong because of this wrinkle in the law, could take years because he has a good lawyer. He could run out the string on this for a long, long time. And frankly, I'll tell you what I think. I think what President Obama is hoping is that somebody will grant him asylum, that China will grant him asylum, that Russia will grant him asylum, and he will just disappear. Because the last thing, I flat out guarantee you, the last thing that President Obama wants is this guy testifying in open court in the United States about this wholesale trashing of the Fourth Amendment. So Ron Paul is saying, look, they're going to punish this guy. There are a lot of Republicans even that say this is treason. He's got to be punished. Ralph Peters is out there saying this guy's betrayed the country. We got to put him to death. You know, I would say it's not Ed Snowden who has betrayed the country. It's Barack Obama and the NSA that have betrayed the country. They've sold us out. They betrayed the Constitution. So here's Ron Paul. Here's his response. They want to punish Edward Snowden. Here's Ron Paul's question.
So my question should be to all of you who defend this nonsense is, what should the penalty be for the people who destroy the Constitution? They're always worried about how they're going to destroy the American citizens who tell the truth to let us know what's going on. But we ask the question, what is the penalty for the people who deliberately destroy the Constitution and rationalize and say, Oh, we have to do it for security. Well, you know what Franklin said about that. You end up you lose your security and you lose your freedoms too. So I think we've embarked on a very, very dangerous course. The American people are with us on this. It's totally out of control. And I would say if you're confused about what we should do, just read the Constitution. What's wrong with that?
Well,
you know, that gives us pretty good guidelines. If you don't like it, get people to repeal it and change the Constitution, but not just to deny it.
So he said read the Constitution. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Amendment 4, Federal Constitution, Supreme Law of the Land. The right of the people, that's you and me. That's not a right that belongs to the state, not a right that belongs to a state, not a right that belongs to the federal government. This is the right of the people, just like the right to keep and bear arms. Every American citizen has this right, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects. Effects just means property, stuff that you own. The right of the people to be secure against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Well, I don't think you can get any clearer than that. And this concept of being free from these unreasonable searches and seizures, I mean, this, as I say, it's rooted in Scripture. It's rooted in our history as a people. For example, the Virginia Declarations of Rights, this is Declaration of Rights, June 1776, states this about general warrants. Those are what being used to take your phone records and your emails. General warrants were, quote, grievous and oppressive and ought not be granted. Massachusetts Constitution of 1780, every subject has a right to be free from all unreasonable searches and seizures. Richard Henry Lee to George Mason, October 1, 1787. The citizens shall not be exposed to unreasonable searches and seizures of their persons, papers, houses, or property. Focal Point AFR Talk, back in 2. Stay with us.
We're told